are back. Thank you so much for staying with us. And in case you're just joining us, welcome to Kenya's Gold, where the focus of the show today, as is the norm every single Friday, is on climate action and sustainability in agriculture. And we do hope from the feature that you have just watched, you're now inspired and motivated to make better use of the waste that is generated from your farm. Now, we do want to further the conversation on organic farming, and we do have the distinct honor of being joined by Mr. John Njoroge, who is the director at Kenya Institute of Organic Farming, and we also do have Victoria Kari-Gathwa, who is administrator at the Kenya Institute of Organic Farming. Karibuni sana Kenya's Gold. So good to have you here with us today, and I'll start with you, Mr. John. Very interesting to learn that you're among the very first people who started the movement of organic farming in Kenya. Please give us details. Which year was that and what pushed you to that direction?
That was the year 1987. That is when we first registered Kenya Institute of Organic Farming, responding to a workshop that had gone on at Moro in the Rift Valley on organic agriculture. I had been requested by the International Federation of Organic Agriculture to do a workshop, to respond to a workshop that the Catholic diocese in Europe, in Germany, had sponsored us to go through one organic growing season in England. So out of that, we had arrived in March and went through the process of organic growing up to early October. And when I came back, I was asked to hold a workshop like that for a group of children. After that workshop is when now I registered Kenya Institute of Organic Farming.
And that is now around 1987. At the time when you were introducing it, were people embracing it as a way of commercial farming, or people were practicing organic farming just for subsistence?
It wasn't known as organic farming then, either traditional farming or something like that. Otherwise, the government was promoting farming with chemical fertilizers or other inputs from the shops, encouraging people to grow. But when this process of organic learning happened, some of the people who attended the workshop, we had about 45 participants, they also went and started something going. Yes.
I'll come to you, Victoria. Mr. John has expounded on the fact that the organic farming movement, which he started, was in 1987. But I'd like for you to tell us where we are now, 2025, several decades later. What is the uptake of organic farming? What are farmers feeling about it? Are we embracing it? And if you was to give us a percentage out of 100%, where are we?
Out of 100, I don't think we've gone that far or else that high, because at first people were like, we do farming for commercial purposes, and it's fast, and then you get the money. But now, when it comes to health-wise, people have started embracing slowly by slowly. So I would say we are at around 45, we've started growing.
So there are concerns. Farmers will listen to us talk about organic farming, lakini mkulima atakuja kuambia these crops ambazo unataka tukuze through organic farming, they're susceptible to pests and diseases. And huyu mkulima anafikiria, I'm in this to make money. So why should I go organic na najua magonjwa yakikuja, pest yakikuja, my crops will be the very first to be affected. And that becomes, you know, quite a tough conversation to have with them on how to change their minds. Mr. John, since you have been in this game for very many years with experience from the international countries, what would you tell these farmers? What is the solutions to pests and diseases for organic farmers?
The most important thing is people to realize what is organic agriculture.
Right.
It brings health into the soil and into the consumer of the products that are grown with it. When you apply chemicals from the shops and you spray against pesticides, some of the chemicals are left in the plant, in the product that you are growing. And when you consume this, then the problem comes in because these chemicals enter into the body of the consumer and eventually they affect the person.
Right.
What organic farming promotes is using natural products because we know that there are many plants that have products or ability to take away pesticides, to take away pests. I can only mention one which is very, very common. Right. That is the hot pepper, chilies. When you bite it, of course, you feel like you want to keep your mouth open because it is very hot.
Hot, yes.
Now, if you take it and you boil it and you, smash it up, that heat that comes out of there does a lot of repairing of most pests and so forth.
And that solution can be applied to any crop that a farmer is growing in their farms.
Exactly.
All right. So I'll come to you, Victoria, and I want you to talk to us about how sustainable is organic farming. Mkulima kona 100 acres of land. We are trying to get into large-scale farming, and you're thinking, as you can see from the feature, as beneficial as organic manure is, it's also a process, and you also need a lot of waste to be able to convert it into an amount that can go to the farm. So how can we, make organic farming sustainable, especially for those large-scale farmers?
Thank you, Ngina. Now, for the large-scale farmers, organic agriculture is also very, very sustainable because, number one, you are using the readily available resources from your garden. It's not like you're investing like lots of capital on that farm. You use wherever you're. Like now he's talked about the pepper. When it comes to making of the pesticides, when it comes now to composting, it might be tedious, but then once you make it once, you'll use it for like 2 seasons, and once you apply it, you'll not have to apply it like the next season. Reason being, the farming technique that you've used, we have different farming techniques. We have like the double dug beds, we have like the zai pits. So once you apply, it retains the nutrients to the soil. It still keeps the soil healthy for the next season. Right. That way, we would say that it is very, very sustainable. Yeah.
So what I'm getting from you is, unlike someone who's using chemical fertilizers, they have to keep repeating, applying this chemical every planting season. But huyu mkulima wa organic, one off, it can last you for a while. All right, Mr. John, I want you to help us with, collecting this waste. Tapata wakulima wengi are doing free range. Okay, so we don't have proper structures of how we can collect, central points where we can collect this waste, also segregate this waste so that we can make sure organic farming is done on, commercial, purposes. Talk to us about if there are structures as of now, if there are conversations to make collection and segregation and structures to make sure that this waste is collected properly.
There are two things. People don't understand that nature protects itself.
Okay.
If you have any empty ground, vegetation will grow on it, what we normally call either weeds or things like that. And what people do is put fire on it and burn it. You find people at the end of the season, instead of making use of the harvest of vegetation that came from the previous one, they burn it. And burning vegetation is very bad because you could use the same vegetation that came from the last crop. You recycle it by composting and you use it for the next crop.
Right.
And this process now repeats itself all the time because whatever you have, or many people also have cut that vegetation, bring it to the animal. The animals have their dung, have their beddings, have their, all this should be swept out, composted, and then taken to the garden to go and be recycled again. And that is what nature wants. And in fact, we learn this also from a forest, you see. In the forest, you find there's a lot of leaf fall and little twigs and so forth. And the forest continues to make those leaves decay and continues to use the same nutrients to grow even higher.
Right.
So our farmers should really learn that burning your harvest at the end of the season, you are denying yourself the opportunity to get a better crop the following year.
Okay.
Yes.
Mr. John, in 20 seconds, just tell me, kule mkulima ambaye anafanya free range, anaamka asubuhi, wanyama wanaenda huko, wanakula mahali watakula, watarudi nyumbani jioni. There's also a lot of, animal waste that is, deposited in the areas where these animals go.
Yeah.
So how can we collect that? How can we utilize that? Because that's also waste that's going to waste.
The animals have time to, you look like cattle or goats or sheep.
Right.
They eat up a lot of vegetation.
Right.
And these animals they are herbivorous. They have 4 stomachs. So they fill up the first stomach. And when the animal goes, rests in the evening, during the night, the digestion process takes place, and it throws into the grazing area, into the, not the grazing, but into the shed where it is housed, a lot of manure, a lot of dung.
Right.
Let's call it that way.
Okay.
And if that dung can be corrected, it is what was eaten from the many places during the day.
Yes. The day, so your waste itakuja pale tu.
Exactly, where so you take care of the dung, and that helps.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. John, for that clarification. I was very curious to know iyo waste ya huko nje tutaiokota aje. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah.
We are taking another break right now, but when we come back, I'd like for Mr. John and Victoria to help us learn if there are bodies that help consumers certify if a particular produce that they're eating is 100% organic. Answers to that question will be coming to you when we come back from this short commercial break. Now back to our conversation, Victoria. Now we have a lot of people who are very keen on what they're putting in their bodies. They want to eat right, eat clean, and I want to find out, for a consumer who wants to verify that a particular product is 100% organic, are there bodies that help you certify that as a consumer?
Yeah. We have a body in Kenya that is the Kilimo High brand, which you'll go by the Kenya
Agricultural
Kenya Agricultural Network. That is the COAN. They have the Kilimo High brand. They do certify farmers. For a consumer, you have to buy from a certified farmer. And then we have the EcoCert, that is a European body that is for an international export and all that.
Right. So for any farmer who says, I'm an organic farmer, it means their farm has to be certified.
Exactly.
And I can see documentation to prove that. All right, but when it gets to the supermarket, is there any way to certify that?
Now, the supermarkets too, you have to give proof that whatever you're selling is really organically certified. You do not just come, say, by word of mouth that I'm an organic farmer and I do this ABCD, and yeah, you have to have
consumer have the right
a certificate. Yeah.
Akiwa hiyo supermarkets, aitishe proof that was presented by the farmer who brought this produce here, just to know this is 100% organic. Do I have that right?
Yes,
oh, I do.
You do. Yeah.
Nice.
Now
I know.
I just wanted to add that in Nairobi, near at Karen, there is an organic market. And consumers come to buy. For you to enter into that market, you have to have someone visit your farm and make an assessment that you are actually doing it organically.
Great. All right. Now, last question before we finish our gold conversation. Mr. John, I want you to talk to us about harmonious relationship between, advocates of organic farmers and chemical fertilizer, because at the end of the day, it will be so hard to reach a day where chemical fertilizers are not being used at all, So what is the messaging? How can we work together? How can we use these chemical fertilizers in such a way inaendana na the agenda of protecting your soil and protecting human beings?
God has given us the opportunity to be able to work on our farms. And the farms that we work on have so many organisms besides plants, so many, living organisms that are done. The plant also needs its nutrition, fertilizers or manure, or, for an organic farmer or for one who is interested in organic consumption, he has to ensure that the inputs that go into growing his crop is actually coming from the organic system. And we have mentioned composting, manure, and other pesticide, other products that have been continued. Now, it is not advisable to spray the ordinary chemicals onto an organic product if it is intended for consumption by the human beings and even livestock. So in that way, then we recommend that you go and buy the products that have been certified as organic or that grow naturally and can be able to repair pests, and you ensure that the product you harvest is free from conventional chemicals.
Right. Thank you so much, Mr. John Wanjau, Director at the Kenya Institute of Organic Farming, and also Victoria Kari, Administrator at the Kenya Institute of Organic Farming. Thank you so much for your time. We are definitely going to pick up this conversation another day because there's still a lot more to address when it comes to organic farming. So as we wind up this show, lazima munipatie answer ya farm jokes, ndio? All right. The question was, what is chicken's favorite vegetable? Na niwaambia clue iko hapo. Angalia vizuri, Mr. John. Victoria, what's the answer? Victoria?
I can see spinach.
Spinach, okay. Mr. John?
That's what I think.
There is a cabbage, that red cabbage. Chickens like cabbage.
Chickens like cabbage?
Yes.
All right, and Victoria said spinach. Hey, it's a farm joke. The answer is an eggplant.
Oh!
You get the gist, Mr. John, you get?
Yeah,
you get
eggplant.
Oh! You see? Yeah, that's what I said, it's a joke. Thank you so very much for making time to be with us, and we're looking forward to interacting with you with more farmers so that we can understand the science of organic farming. Exactly. We have come to the end of the show and the end of this week. Thank you so much for joining with us all through the week. We'll see you again next week, and our mission remains the same: fixing our food systems and our environment one conversation at a time. Thank you for watching. My name is Violetta Ngina. Goodbye.